I see black when I close my eyes. Well, no, there is a light coming through my hole, and I see colors when my eyes are closed. Well, I guess that's how it usually is. I mean, I don't cease being able to perceive colors just by closing my eyes, or what I would call my eyes. The light rays have always and will always pierce my peeking holes, even when closed. I assume that's how that is for everybody. Saying saying that reminds me of those days where you feel like looking into the sun. I will say it is not recommended, but I already elaborated on that when I talked about the sun and my love hate for it, my utter disdain. I hate the sun with my very being. Thank you. But there are these days where you get the feeling of staring into the sun, even though you know it's a bad idea. And this usually isn't because I feel like I can try my luck and challenge the sun to an unwise stare battle. I think I'd win. Or because it's a particular good day to stare into the sun. But I feel like at times we are on the same wavelength, or more like resonating, but at different frequencies. Sometimes I feel like staring into the sun like I'm opening up my soul to it. At those times, I'd say that there's a connection that binds us together. Like it'll swallow me up whole. My worries, my sorrows, my joy, and all. Not in a malicious way, of course. More like a you're the last person around on a desolate rock as it explodes in your face and disintegrates you on the spot. And you welcome it, knowing that in a couple of seconds there won't be anything left to recognize you've existed. But there is also the opposite feeling of this feeling. It's when I'm forced to exist, you know? Because I didn't choose to be here. I didn't have a choice in this matter, or at least not that I know of. One day just woke up. One day just became conscious. But I've been placed in this cave and I don't even know what I'm doing here. But at those times I feel like I'm just a construct of floating concepts held together by ever-shifting gravity. Imagine a tower made of small to medium bits and bobbles. A swiveling chair here, a cluster of socks there. All in a straight line. Well, I guess the concept of being straight depends since it can be horizontal as the gravity keeps on changing. It's kind of just a matter of it. I don't even know if it's up or down sometimes. You know? And I've climbed so far I don't even see the ground anymore. So I'm just there. I find myself a little confused at times, but I do know that I need to keep climbing. Even though I don't know in which direction it's facing, I do know that I'm moving forward. Even if that means I'm moving backwards sometimes. It makes my skin feel heavy. There's a comfort in knowing that I am struggling. It's an annoyance, but at the same time, a learning experience. I feel more down to earth. Well, even more down to earth than I already am, since I'm literally attached to it. The reason why I think I feel like this lies in the fragileness of the conscious mind, or some minds, I should say. If you know who you are with a firm belief, you'd also know which choices you'd be making most of the time. I think, at least. Because this doesn't always have to be the case, of course, but there were and will be points in my life where I'm going through a tough mind state. I might be chill for a big part, but the dread of being alone and trapped within this cave do shake me at random intervals. My mood will be pretty sour for a few days or months. The thing that makes me feel like ever shifting gravity is because people can change their minds, right? What I want to say with that thought, you know, at what point will changing your mind result into going against your character? When I'm in those moods, I'm conscious enough to know that I can change my mind and be jolly or chill again. But doesn't that betray my emotions? And to what point am I hanging on to the feeling rather than feeling it? Well, I guess that's a really fine line. For most bad things that can happen to me, I do apply a change of mind. It's a little bit like this. There's a piece of fine cheese on the ceiling, but at the same time lava's rising from the floor. So you decide to walk up the wall and walk up the ceiling. Not by brute force, but considering the wall to be the floor, which in turn, if the wall is the floor, the gravity applies floor physics to it. At least for a change in my mind state. But it's always a guess of how much am I allowed to go without going too far. And then the question appears: how long can I keep chipping away until I am someone else? And have to reconsider what I already put a stop to before, where I thought that I'd be crossing the line. I think that I've been doing this for a very long time, to the point that I consider it a part of my personality. So the boundaries are even larger, or more like finer than before. I think all coping mechanisms come with their ups and downs. I'm not saying I'm doing it right, but it works, and I like it. It does make me think of the saying about scientists and them thinking whether they could, but didn't stop to think if they should. In this one, I am the scientist. There's a little, I wouldn't say evil, but more a morbid curiosity within me that urges me to go further, take more. While it's also very interested in seeing me grow, it also pokes me in all the wrong places out of interest. Like, as I already said, the morbid curiosity. It sometimes takes a hold of me, kind of makes me see myself in third person. And I just keep thinking, what if I do this? Or what if I change this? What if I could do more than I thought I could? Have I tried? To what extent? And it just keeps going and going until I either go crazy or finally chillax a little bit. I don't know what I do to myself. Not that I'd ever harm myself, of course, right? But not that I also could, because I'm kind of stuck here. But inside of your head, when you're only, I'd say, trapped within yourself, right? There is no real limitation except the ones that you put in place. But what if those limitations are merely a suggestion to you, you know? In that way, what stops you from going further, crossing the line, maybe even pulling out like some hidden potential, which I doubt for me, but who knows, right? There are a lot of times where I feel over stimulated, mostly by my own thoughts. And I try to think of things that I like to elaborate on, or like I try to make something work, make a rant, or sometimes I just do rant, right? But like I keep myself entertained, but it doesn't work if I keep getting overstimulated. And then in I urge myself to go further. I'm conscious enough to know that I'm able to do it, but when I'm overstimulated, I just can't. But then I'm also like conscious of enough to like know that I'm able to. And it's really vexing at times because you know what you're capable of. And sometimes you can even do more. But who is who is to say what you can and cannot do? Where do where do your limitations lay if you yourself know that you can do it, but you get so up in your head about it, so freaked out, so stressed about it that you actually can't, right? I'm sorry. I went a little bit off the rails right there. Oh, remember those ants from last time? Of course I do. Well, they're gone now. Washed away. I hope. Now that I think about it, they could very well have drowned. Oh, that's grim. I was just getting used to my new roommates. Even though they just barged in. I think it will be somewhat more silent now. Not that the ants talked, right? At least I assume, since we hadn't had any form of communication. But I guess I'm alone again.